family woman in a way, but I just wanted to know the scope of how deep I got myself into.
Sometimes times come up. Okay. So hello everyone, welcome to our Facebook conversation about social work at UQ, and welcome to our beautiful campus on a lovely day. So today we're going to be going through some questions sent in by people who are prospective students with us. So I'm Karen Healy. I'm a professor here in the social work program at UQ. I'm also the national president of the Social Work Association, which is the accrediting body for social work in Australia, and I'm on the board. I'm a national director of the Benevolence Society, which is Australia's oldest not-for-profit. And now our students will introduce themselves.
Okay, so my name is Tara and I'm a second year student here at UQ, obviously a mature age student, and I'm hoping to major in child, youth and family, and I'll throw it over to Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm also a second year student here at UQ. I'm still a bit unsure about what I'd like to do, but I'd love to do something in domestic violence in women.
Yeah, and my name is Raquel. I'm also a second year, and I'm hoping to get into child, youth and family as well.
Okay, so we've got some emailed questions that have happened over the weekend. And if you have any questions at all, just feel free to put them in the comments section below, and we'll do our best to answer them, and if we can't, then we'll reply to you in the comments section. So first off we have Jessie. Hi Jessie. Jessie asks, what are the entry requirements for social work?
Okay, so to enter social work at UQ, you need an OP of 10, which is the most rigorous standard for social work entry in the state. And then there's also another guide.
Yeah, so for people who have a rank in other states that may have that, the rank is 79. So, and there may also be some requirements around English, but just your standard English.
Yeah, and so another question that has been emailed through is, what types of careers can you get as a social worker?
Would you like to start off?
Yeah, so sometimes, funny enough, people say, oh, well, what is a social worker? Are you the lady at Centrelink who fills in the details? Not completely right. In fact, not right at all. What I usually tell people is a social worker is the buffer between anybody who needs to make contact between social services and actual help. So sometimes you're in the front line working in things like child protective services, disability, aged care, or in the hospital if anybody has any needs, but also behind the scenes. There are roles in policy development as well as community development, but also a huge range of services where you can really choose to specialise in something you're passionate about, say women's refuges, men's refuges, youth, child, family. It's all a very diverse range, and so social work allows you to get into a field that you can feel particularly passionate about and really use your strengths.
Yeah. So as I said before, if you've got any questions, just post them down below. Another question that's been emailed in is, what are some sample courses that you would study?
So I guess I'll start off. One of my favourite courses in this year was Direct Prac 2 and Direct Prac 1. So both of the direct practices are really skills-based courses where you start to learn what you'll actually be doing and how that will look. So yeah, those would be my favourites so far.
Yeah.
And I would also find that I enjoy the diversity between Direct Practice 1 and Direct Practice 2. So in Direct Practice 1, what we did is worked on our social skills one-on-one with clients and really built up some of those communication skills needed to talk to people who have problems. And Direct Practice 2 was more of an opposite contrast, where we worked in a community setting and worked with groups on how we could deal a lot bigger problems in the community, such as setting up young mums groups, or it could be a public pool. It's a huge range, really, and that's what I enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, so Sarah has asked a question and she wants to know, why should I study social work at UQ?
Okay, well there's a few reasons why you should choose UQ. One is that UQ has world leaders in social work research and practice, and we're all very industry engaged. So almost all of the lecturers have partnerships with industry and are very committed to practice-based research. Some researchers do pure research, but most of our academics do very applied research on the cutting edge of matters that are going on in the community right now, such as family group decision making research in the field of domestic violence, research on ageing. So great lecturers. The next reason is that the structure of the program is different to other social work programs, and students can follow through a specialisation in the areas of child, youth and family, or mental health, or health and ageing. So people come out very practice ready. And the final reason, I think, is because of the way we teach. We aim to simulate direct practice in everything we do. So we involve actors in initial courses where we do one-on-one, as Raquel mentioned, through to quite complex scenarios such as running family group meetings and making submissions to Parliament, writing court reports. So people finish our program very ready to practice.
And if I could add on to that, one thing that I've particularly enjoyed about UQ in particular is the student support program that they offer here at UQ has been really engaged with the students who specialise in first, second, third and fourth year, and have mentors that are able and ready at any time during your class periods to help you with essays, questions or inquiries that you may have, as well as a really good disability support team, which can help if anything happens through the semester. If you come into your degree with special needs, that's something that I have found has been a real help for me, where I broke my arm in my first semester and really needed to push back some of those subjects. They were really helpful, which is something that I have found unique to UQ.
If you've got any questions at all, just chuck them down below. We've got some questions that have been emailed in. So Mark wants to know if he can go on placement part-time.
Yes, you can go on placement part-time. We have lots of student placements. To complete a social work degree at UQ, and in fact across Australia, you have to do 1,000 hours of field across 2 placements. The big advantage of this is that people are very ready to practice. At the end of that, they've got substantial experience. Under the accreditation rules, you can do your placement part-time, but most placement providers will limit that to 3 days a week. That the very minimum, you need to be there 3 days a week to follow through client issues and so forth. So there is the option for doing a part-time placement that can be negotiated.
So if we can talk maybe a little bit more about placement, all of us are going on placement next year, and I'm hoping to go on a child safety placement, which would require me to go into a child safety office and really get that on-the-job skills, and that would be approximately 4 days a week in roughly full-time hours. And the variety of placement that you can get with UQ is just so vast, and because it's such a well-respected university, the placement field is really like broad and open for so many areas, and there's even international placements I heard the other day which are really very popular. But Grace, where did you put down for placement?
I was really keen to go to Queensland Health just because I think it's a nice broad area, and I'd love to work in an acute setting, which is something that you can do through Queensland Health. So working in an emergency department, dealing with people coming in and quite high risk and like fast sort of stuff where you've got time pressures, just because I'd like to see if I could manage that more than anything. But yeah, there's so many options, and it's only limited by your imagination and what you're willing to have a go at, I think.
Yeah, well, I've actually had a really interesting placement journey so far. So I'm actually from the Gold Coast and wanted to look at more flexible options around the Logan area as well as the Gold Coast area for placement. And the placement team has actually been in contact with me back and forth for the past 2 weeks. and have actually come up to me today even and offered me a placement in allied health on the Gold Coast, which is something that is really highly competitive. But being a UQ student, the staff have done their best jobs, and hopefully now I've secured a placement in Queensland Health on the Gold Coast, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, so I've just got another question here from John. So if you've got any questions, just post them on down below, as I've said throughout this. So John wants to know, will the course allow me to be a member of the AASW when I graduate?
So the AASW, the Australian Association of Social Workers, is the accrediting body for social work, the social work profession in Australia. So our program is regularly reviewed every 5 years and exceeds the accreditation standards. So it meets and exceeds those standards. I'd like to say something though about placement as well, just in case the question doesn't come up, and that is that we have very well established international placement options as well, and particularly for students on their final placements, they have the option of going to Indonesia, India and Nepal. We've also had students go to Canada, and we have, in the places that I've mentioned in Asia, we have very well established placements opportunities there.
Okay, so Olivia asks, can I get into university with my diploma of youth work?
Well, that's a challenging question, and we'd have to look at on a case-by-case basis. But if Olivia was her name Olivia? Yeah, Olivia. If Olivia has met the scale requirements, the entry requirement through her diploma, then yes, she can come through UQ. And many students do upgrade from a diploma, an advanced diploma from the VET sector or TAFE into the social work program.
Okay, so we've got another question that has come forward, and it says, is there social work student club, and what is uni life like? So I'll tell you all about uni life.
Yeah.
Well, my part of uni life. This place is just so great, especially UQ. It's really a wonderland. You don't have to leave, and you never want to. You know, you've got all of the sort of eating facilities. There's also banks, hairdressers, physiotherapists, dentists. It's really just its own little world here. The library facilities are also really good. I'm not part of a club myself. Are either of you guys part of a club?
Yeah,
Social work club.
there is a social work club that we have actually created through our own cohort, and that's something that's organic, that we have made ourselves, that helps us stay in contact with our peers, stay up to date on any information and assignment information, but also on a social level there are just so many clubs. I have actually been part of a few dance clubs here at UQ on a Tuesday night where you get to meet a whole range of people and do some really diverse things. And there's also just other social groups for women or for men or for mixing or for socializing, and it just really helps actually to be part of a university that does promote a social aspect, because you can really involve yourself and immerse yourself in university life, which I think is a great experience.
So I've got another question here. If you've got any questions, post them down below. If we can't answer them, or if we don't get to them, then we'll do that after this. So someone has asked, why did you choose to study at UQ? I only chose UQ. I'm not just saying that, but it was the only thing that I had on my QTAC list. Really because of the facilities, as Karen said earlier, the industry professionals. There wasn't any other choice for me.
Yeah, same for me. The UQ was my only choice, but I started doing an arts degree and then decided I didn't want to do that, and social work came up and I didn't look anywhere else. UQ was where I'd gotten used to and where I loved, and I stayed here, and I'm so glad I did.
My story is a bit funny. I was in the middle of rural Victoria when I was having dinner with a social worker who is the head of Headspace in a place called Swan Hill. You might know it. It's about 4 hours from Melbourne. And when I was discussing to him what I might do with my life and where I might study, he actually ran into his bedroom and pulled out his UQ social work bachelor from 10 years ago and said, this is the only place that you will actually feel at home, because I know what you're like and how much you would like to get involved into your university campus and the lecturers and the teachers. And so I chose UQ for that reason, but also because of the reputation surrounding UQ as a very prestige and academic centre for learning. And I feel that from what I've heard from other people as well, that this was going to be the right choice.
So we've got a couple more questions here. Rob has asked, is it easy to find jobs in social work after you graduate?
Yes, so social work has a very high employment rate, and it's predicted to have one of the strongest growth rates in the longer term. In the medium term, it's strong, but over the next 10 years, this industry will continue to grow very strongly. It's the top one. The industry is, the occupation is amongst the top 5 for employment upon graduation.
Yeah.
So employment options are strong.
And Alice asks, what is the average starting salary for a graduate in social work? So any questions, just post it down below. Salaries.
Salaries, yep, 56,000 is the average starting salary for a social worker. And then people to move up through a salary scale, there are industrial protections for your salary, both in the government and the non-government sector. So you can expect to achieve a reasonable income from a very enjoyable profession.
So this question was emailed in. What kind of person makes a great social worker? Well, I can tell you about my cohort, which includes these 2 ladies. Social workers are a very eclectic and diverse bunch. They're lots of fun. Yeah, what would make a great social worker?
Just someone who's open and very willing to make connections with people. I think, now that we're 2 years in, we know everyone in our cohort and everyone is your friend and get on with everyone. So definitely you need to be an open person and be willing to share.
I would say what makes a great social worker is both individual and collective, like Cara has mentioned, but also what Grace has mentioned. What makes a great social worker is actually what you would bring to the table, but also what you would learn collectively from your peers and your teachers. And it's just an intrinsic value really that you bring, the need to help people, the need to care, and a basic and genuine passion for people would really help. This is a people-orientated subject, but if you are naturally somebody who isn't quite, sharp on your communication skills, but you do have a genuine love and empathy for people, I'd still invite you to look at the course and its content, because we all have to learn to talk, but we don't have to learn to care.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got another question. Any questions, we'll try and get to them, and if we don't, we'll do our best to respond to them. This one says, what would be your top tips for social worker students starting at UQ? Well, we all just have to start, I would say. Just give it a crack. The transportation getting to UQ is really accessible for both sides of the river and both sides of Brisbane. I come from the south side, and it's really easy for me to come over this way. And starting at UQ, I think that the student services, Raquel said earlier, they're just so great. Even if you're a mature age student like me, breaking back into assessment writing, it's all very supported and guided through.
Yeah, I'd also say to have a really open mind. So come in and be open to the range of fields that social workers may work in. For example, when I first started here many years ago, I thought I'd work in mental health social work, and I ended up in child welfare social work and really enjoyed that. And another area that I think is growing exponentially, or areas are ageing, the ageing population, and I think there's some really exciting careers emerging there. And also with the disability insurance scheme, there's going to be growth opportunities to support people living with disabilities in the community. So that will be the main thing I would say, is come in and really be open to a range of opportunities. And the other thing I've benefited from a long time ago now is just working very hard from the beginning. That's not just trying to pass, but actually really trying to understand this field. It's very interesting. It's an interesting field.
Yeah, I would definitely say coming in and engaging with the learning is just the best because you end up loving it, and that's all you can hope for.
Be prepared to have it be a really humbling experience as well.
I would actually give 3 practical tips. I would say download the UQ navigation app straight away. This place is huge. My second thing that I would say is actually, like Cara said before, get into contact with social services, student services early on. Let them know that you're a new student and ask them about the free workshops that happen here in the first couple of weeks, which have things like how to write an essay, where is the best student accommodation, other practical tips like how best to write notes for your lectures. And the third thing that I would say is come to the early lectures in the weeks and get to know your cohort, because at the end of the day you need your supportive community behind you, and that is a student community that will help you, encourage you and remind you and just help you to keep on the momentum of student life. So that's my top 3.
So there's another question here. What has been your favourite memory while studying? So many to choose from. Well, it says while studying, so I would say that there's a lot of group work that's involved in our course, and being able to make presentations and really connect with your peers during your assessment time has been really valuable. Just the type of people that get attracted to studying social work are really special people, and great friendships are forged while you're studying, I would say.
I've had a few highlights. One was when my group and I got to obviously do the assignment side of things, but at the end we were free to do an activity where we actually did an interpretal dance. That was a highlight to kind of enter outside of the box of education and go into something a bit more free. Second thing would be just actually really good conversations with my lecturers, people who are in the industry, people who are out and about doing this, and being able to learn from them in a very open, friendly, mentoring kind of friendship. University is so different to a schooling education where there's really strict boundaries on what you learn. In university, everything's on the cards, and you can really have an opportunity in your life to really be part of something bigger. And I would really say that that's the highlight overall, and the times where that has happened, and the lecturers are more than happy to have that friendship with you, so get on it.
So unfortunately that's all we have time for today, guys, so thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that we managed to answer some of your questions. Anything we didn't get to, we'll follow up. Have a great day, I guess. See ya.